Jim Bitlord, long time no speak, long time no talk. Do man.
Brother, what's happening, man? This is crazy. Seeing the market meltdown, bro. That's insane. I remember 2 weeks you were saying everything is gonna crash. It's basically over at like 120,000, 117, 115. The amount of fucking hate that you got through this period, you just balls to the wall, stuck for it, man. And look at these motherfuckers now.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are paying me rent now. They're paying for me jets, me super yachts. It's all fucking coming in the name of win. But nah, I don't like to brag or be cocky or whatever here because a lot of people are losing money. But to be honest with you, it's all right for when them bulls, when the bears are fucking losing money and getting wrecked. So why isn't it allowed for us to laugh and clap and cheer when we're fucking getting, winning? Understand, markets go up and down. You should be able to make money when crypto pumps or dumps in both directions. And in fact, I would argue that there's a lot to be made short in the market than long in the market when if you do the timing right. Because most people don't short markets, they long markets, and for I don't know, maybe the green gets to them, or they only think you can make money going up, but no, you can absolutely make money going down. Yeah, it's crazy, but you're well protected, my friend. You let me know, you know. Yeah. So, what do you think, brother? Like, I mean, for me, I'll leave this on. I think we're absolutely going to 92 now. Anybody arguing that we're not going to 92 now, then no disrespect, but I think you're fucking stupid. Because it's pretty obvious we're going to 92 to fill that CME gap. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a fucking like reversal.
Bro,
Yeah, go
look
ahead.
at what was happening with you know what's crazy, right? It's like look at all the big guys that are in space. I mean, you get guys like, Arthur Hayes, you've got like the Winklevoss twins from Gemini, etc. And look, I'm just looking back at how they were all so loud and so like big on things like Zcash, right? And you got to understand, people need to know this, that when guys like this are so loud and vocal and trying to pump something, usually, matter of fact, they're actually selling it. They're
Okay,
actually selling it.
I have to talk on this because it's fucking true. So, whenever they're doing the media rounds on CNBC and Fox Business and all this shit, calling for ridiculous all-time highs by the end of the year, okay, I'm telling you, I can't remember. There was a famous person. I've read a book. There was a famous person who said it. You can probably Google it and find out the name of that guy. It might have been. It could have been Warren Buffett. I can't fucking remember if it was him or not. But I'm telling you, that is a top signal, and that was another top signal for me. There was actually, when I began shorting the market at 120, I don't think there was any bull signals. There wasn't. There was zero. Everything was pointing to this, and because I don't consider myself that fucking. I'm not a clever person. I ain't got the best IQ. I'm not academically clever, but I don't know. I've been around long enough just to fucking see this shit. This was obvious to me. Um, it surprises me how many people get fooled and naivety by the buy into like this illusion that we can't go down. It's highly illiquid. Cryptocurrency is a baby. Understand that it's a baby, so it's extremely volatile. Is it going to go to $1 million a coin? Absolutely. I'd put my life on it. I well and truly believe it will. Within 10 years, maybe 5. I think we'll have a really good end to 2026, but we're just in for some sharp pain. I mean, if the SPX is truly topped, and so the last time the S&P fell 50%, 56, 57% was 2007, 2008 financial crisis. The time before it fell over 50% was the dot-com bubble in 2000, 2002. It's been 2008, it's like 16 years since we've seen the S&P have a 50% drop. And you might think, like, oh, that can't happen or whatever. In fact, I think it could have 60, 70% drop. The fact it's been 16 years, on average every 8 years we have a bear market in history. Historically, we've on average every 8 years. But what they've done is the powers that be are so fucking greedy. Well, they're greedy and they're laughing, they're printing the money and the stocks are going up, devaluing, the working man's currency. So it's just the way the game is played, and if you understand it, you can fucking profit from it. If you don't understand it, then get out the game because you're a fool. And I don't mean that like to disrespect anyone, but you've got to kind of play what they kind of try and play the game they're playing. I mean, this whole government shutdown ending bullshit. Did you know Bitcoin actually made an all-time high when the government shutdown ended? And everyone was saying on Twitter, like, oh, keep the government shutdown closed. This is good. And then all of a sudden it starts going down, and then they start preying on it reopening. They're preying on rate cuts. Okay, you got 25 basis point cut. Jerome Powell strongly hinted that there's going to be no rate cuts in December. People just get out. It's all about liquidity and where is the money going. Even Wintermute said it's circulating. But what I would like to touch upon is what Bitlord said. I think it's extremely funny how there's I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to I can't be asked with another fucking lawsuit or whatever, even though I always put them to bed. But in it funny, Zcash has come out of nowhere and is getting all the heat and attention. And I'm not going to name any names, but it seems to be, I think we can all, name 4 or 5 of them off the top of our head. I think it's a little bit orchestrated, don't you think? Comes out of nowhere. They all hit the timeline, big influencers, You know what I mean? Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, it's extremely corrupt. This industry. In fact, I'm learning it's actually getting more and more and more and more and more corrupt by the day. It just is. It's sick, but no. It's and another thing I see on my timeline. Everyone is blaming Donald Trump. Everyone is blaming Jerome Powell or or the government shutdown. Stop blaming. Blame yourself. Take goddamn responsibility. No, this is nobody's lost your money but yourself. Okay, if you've lost money, it's yourself. There's no one to blame. Even in the Black Swan event when I lost 40% of my crypto portfolio in October. Boom, like that overnight, 40%. And by the way, because I had extremely safe liquidation levels. Do you know what? I didn't blame anyone. I didn't do one tweet saying, Wintermute or BlackRock or this. Nothing. No, I know what I'm getting into when I'm trading perps. You can either make it big or lose big. Obviously, I'm high stakes, high leverage, high risk. I sleep like a baby at night going into fucking positions that people won't even be able to sleep on 1% of that position. They won't be able to. But I just have this crazy risk tolerance, which don't recommend, don't condone to anybody because you won't even be able to handle it. But I do, and that's how I ran up $100 million in 70 days. Catching timing it right. And do you know what? The first time I've really started to perp trade again since that event and liquidation event was for about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever, whenever it was, calling the top of Bitcoin. Obviously, everyone came out against me, laughed at me. I was going viral on Twitter, just being the counter trader. People was actually getting bullish. The fact that I was getting bearish. But now there's not really any. Nobody's laughing now, but certainly nobody's like giving much credit. There's obviously some people or whatever, but I still see people delusional on the timeline. There is still delusional. This is not Max Payne. I know what Max Payne is. Bitlord knows what Max Payne is. Bit multi-cycle veteran. He knows when. And I did a tweet about a week or 10 days back. I said it was a poll, and it blew up quite big. And I did a tweet. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it was 40. I said, when does Bitcoin feel cheap to you? I think it was 42%, which was the vast majority that said $75,000. That to me, so that's nobody was lying in that. There was nothing to lie about in that tweet. It wasn't a bullish or a bearish post. It was, it was very open. When would Bitcoin feel cheap to you again? I really do think we're going to. This is obviously not financial advice. Nothing I ever say is financial advice. Whatever you do online with this digital internet money is on you. So, but no, I really do think we're going to visit last cycle's all-time highs, and I would love somebody to come up here and say why we won't. A lot of people come up and say, "Oh no, we'll be all-time high by December." Tell me why. Give me your bull case. Why? Where will that money come from? Who's going to buy? Like, who's going to stop selling? I mean, if you look at the outflows on spot, the only thing actually holding Bitcoin up is BTC leverage longs, and they're selling into you. They're selling into you. That's a fact. So I don't know. A little rant there, Bitlord. Help me out, mate. Come off the back of that, please.
Yeah, I mean, people really forget what kind of Max Payne is. I mean, it's multi-year bear cycles. It's multi-years of Bitcoin going down. There's years where you'll get a pump through that stage, and every pump is sold off onto. Every time it goes up, it's just another opportunity for people to sell short more, offload spot, and it's demoralizing. It's brutal because it doesn't stop. And every time you start to get hope through a rally, people sell into it and they crush that hope. And a lot of guys that have come into this space, they have honestly forgot what that feels like. It's like your whole entire soul is consumed by an empty pit of going down. People genuinely forgot what an actual bear market is or what a depression is in crypto. And I can assure you, if we were to get something like that, this whole entire space would be dust because people do not know how to survive. They've just been conditioned into buying and longing and getting lucky. And that's the matter. The fact is, these people aren't traders. They're all dumbasses. It's a fact. They're just seeing stuff go up and they buy it. They have no actual thought capacity about trading and risk management. They're just monkeys. So what happens when the market does turn? They don't know how to survive in that. We've been lucky. We've been fortunate enough that we've had things like sporadic pumps. I mean, Zcash was one. Obviously, you had hype. You had Asta. There's some huge moves that brought a lot of money back. But you know, James said earlier about Zcash. Don't you find it a bit strange that out of nowhere, this coin that's been dead for years, sitting around the $40 mark, and all of a sudden, all the big funds, all the big accounts, all these big people magically all start coming out? I was scrolling Twitter. I just woke up, got a coffee, opened Twitter, and there's some dude at a conference talking about Zcash is a hedge to Bitcoin. This is a big guy, very well known, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck? How is Zcash a hedge to Bitcoin? What kind of absolute crackpot nonsense is that? It's absurd, um, and I'm seeing more and more of it. I just saw something about Arthur Hayes talking about it. And by the way, I know I got a lot of respect for the early days of Arthur. He created the BitMEX contract that I was deleveraged on like 20 times for the for ZEC when it first launched, and they put a 10 BTC hard cap on it. But I mean, when I'm seeing this guy tweet about all these great things about Zcash, I mean, these guys are moving size. They're looking for an exit. They're looking for an opportunity. They're not posting. They're not trading publicly, because if you saw what they were doing, if you saw how they would be trading, they're counter trading the masses. These guys don't get to these positions by doing what you do. They do it by betting against you, and that's obviously how James runs up $100 million live, is because he's betting against everybody. So don't be fooled when you're seeing this shit. It's no surprise Zcash is down like 40%. Maybe it's going to keep rising. I think it's going to go to 1600 or something like that. But um, just remember who you're trading against at the end of the day.
Yeah, they control the people who are pushing Zcash control a big narrative in crypto. You know, a big mind share, big narrative. You know, they're not, and this isn't the Solana cabal we're talking about it right here. You know, you know, it's on another level, and it is so. To me, it's not coincidental of the people who have been giving it all this attention and this next big thing. I've had people come up on Spaces over the last week or so and saying, "Oh, what do you think about Zcash?" Zcash. I said, "Don't buy the pump. Do not buy it. Never FOMO. Never FOMO." Never, ever, ever. Never panic sell, never FOMO. Know when to cut your losses or whatever, or take profits, but you know, don't FOMO into something that's just come out of nowhere when Bitcoin's bleeding, alts are bleeding, but these so-called privacy coins are going to be a hedge to Bitcoin. It's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. Yeah. So that's just like me and Bitlo trying to basically be safe. You know, be clever. You know, and it's not a conspiracy theory, you know. But use your mind. Just think for a minute before you jump into anything that anybody's trying to shill. You know, and who's shilling it? Why are they shilling it? Why are they shilling it to you? You
Brother,
know,
what
why?
about Solana? Look at Solana, right? I mean, how many. Okay, Solana was pegged to be like the greatest thing ever. Look how much it's down, and it's continuing good to go down. That chart does not look anything resembling bullish. It went up to 200 something bucks before, and then rugged all the way down to $9. Now I
Well,
find this. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. A lot of people, I don't know why, but a lot of people have been maybe saying, "Oh, Solana to 50 or whatever." I might do a tweet in a minute just so it's on the timeline so I can bookmark it. But I bet you any money it goes to $25. It may be even lower. Honestly, honestly, I really do.
Well, it's
I
got the
know what.
most normies. That's the most retail money is in Solana, and
Yeah,
retail can drive this shit to the absolute ground.
yeah, 100%. Which is even worse for them because a lot of the money that's in Solana is normies, you know. And believe me, any really smart money in Solana, they've already fucking sold. You know, they've sold and you know, it's weird how Solana run. But again, there was a bunch of a big bunch of people who all pushed Solana, wasn't there, Bitlord? Um,
Oh yeah,
you know,
and they're
they
still
obviously
doing
all
it.
got.
They're not finished selling, mate. Because if you look at Solana, what happens is these big. You got to think these big companies, these big funds, these very rich people that own things like payment processors and stuff like that, they invest in Solana. And a lot of them didn't actually buy Solana early. They got into it above 200 bucks because they thought it was going to 1,000. So now what you're seeing all of this good news about Solana. Okay, we've integrated it into this payment rails. It's doing this. It's on Western Union. It's now on Cash App. It's on this and that. Well, it's still going down. But they're doing this because my belief is a lot of the people, the big money that got into it, they got into it the wrong level and they lost a lot of money. And these guys don't lose small. They might be losing 50, 100, 200 plus $1 million. And they're looking at ways, okay, it's like their baby now. They're thinking, how can I pump this? How can I do this? All right, I'm going to integrate it into my little Cash App project or Western Union or something like that. I'm going to try spruce it a bit, get some activity on there because I'm losing 200 million fucking dollars. And you know what? it can keep going down. There's nothing these people can do because when the market turns, it doesn't matter what you do. You cannot stop a multi-billion dollar market moving downwards. It's like it's like a single human being trying to stop a train or a dump truck speeding with cement in it. You can't slow that down, you can't stop it. And a lot of people are going to get a very hard lesson in what an actual bear market, what an actual free fall rug feels like.
Yeah, on top of that is people don't realize Bitcoin's never seen a major economic collapse, crypto. Okay. It's never seen a 2008 financial bubble with the housing market. Dot-com boom bubble. It's never seen AI bubble. All these fucking people throwing up money, blowing up the fucking stock market for these little chips that offer no return, no revenue. Just fucking buying into these companies, inflating the price of these companies. AI is the future. Just as the internet, Web 2, was the future, where everybody FOMO'd in on Wall Street. And it's famous now for the dot-com bubble. And the banks fucked us in 2008, 2007, 2006, getting greedy, giving people fucking mortgages for nothing, couldn't afford them because it was on big fat bonuses. Michael Burry, if you've seen the movie The Big Short, predicted the whole thing. Michael comes out today also everyone's on a different time zone, writing a letter to all of his visitors saying he's leaving and he's no longer has confidence in securities or the markets. This is Michael Burry, the guy who made over $100 million shorting the real estate bubble and over $700 million for his investment firm. Warren Buffett, as old as he may be and maybe not pro-Bitcoin that we are on crypto Twitter, sitting on the biggest amount of cash he has ever sat on in his life because he understands when the shit's about to hit the fan. Buy when people are greedy. No, buy when people are fearful. Sell when people are greedy. Simple as that. And you've had a lot of what's hilarious to me is, like I said, I'm a low IQ individual. I ain't that fucking smart. I don't claim to be smart. I'm just me. But there's a lot of like quote unquote rich retail, I'd say, who's on the timeline, in and out of spaces, buying the dip. They've had FOMO. It doesn't matter how rich you are, anybody can get FOMO, you know. I don't want to name any names, I don't want to disrespect, but some people maybe know them. A bunch of people I'm even talking about. And, a couple of them are my friends and stuff, and, we talk privately and it's all fun and games or whatever, but they've been very, very wrong and they've lost, I won't be surprised if privately they're selling right now. Privately, obviously, they're not going to come on time saying, "Okay, I'm panic selling," But there'll be a lot of people in the shadows selling their Bitcoin right now. If the S&P drops 20, 30% or 50% or more, which again people say, "Oh, that will never happen." Like everything is possible. Everything has a probability to it. It's a game of chance. It's a game of probability. Bitcoin could go to all-time high tomorrow. There's a probability it could do that. What percent would I put on it? Probably like 0.5%. But it is possible. Bitcoin could go to big. People thought Andrew Tate was joking when he said Bitcoin's at 26k. He wasn't actually joking. He wasn't predicting it. He was just putting it out there because it absolutely fucking can. If the S&P collapses, and if the S&P collapses 50, 60, 70%, which Bitcoin has never ever seen before, it could absolutely go as low as 26k. And people think, no fucking way. No way. Believe me, it can. Governments, institutions, really not buying gold. The Bitcoin. They're buying gold, silver, precious metals, all kinds of minerals, lithium and stuff. Okay? Gold is surging. Why? When does gold surge? Gold surge when? 2008. Real estate collapse. Surged in the dot-com boom. Gold in the Great Depression in 1929. Been 96 years. They say on average every 8 years we have a bear market. On average every 100 years we have a monetary reset. It's been 80 to 100 years a monetary reset. It's been 96 years. I'm here telling you guys, I'm not saying I'm right. I could be very, very wrong. If I'm wrong, bet against me. I don't care. It's a game of trading. It's a game of probabilities. I think we could be in for, and this isn't good for anyone here. I think we could be in for, I'd word it, basically, and maybe another Great Depression, maybe bigger than that Great Depression, because the bubble seems to me that it's very, very, very big, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. That's my 2 cents. I think sitting on cash is good. I'd rather wait for Bitcoin to bottom than try and catch a falling knife. As it dumps, it's easy to want to buy the dip, But the trend has been broken. The trend is your friend. If you're a trader, the trend is your friend. You know that if you're a trader. The trend has been broken. You've lost the 50-day, the 200-day moving average on the daily. You've lost it now on the weekly. And it's very likely that you're just looking at it's going to close below the 50-day moving average on the weekly. And once it does, that's even the biggest of bulls have got to fucking say, you know what? All right, okay, we're in for a fucking reset. Anyway, it's kind of my 2 cents. I do think we could see a bit of a bounce here. I won't be surprised. I do see some buying pressure coming back into the market, but again, there's a lot of sell pressure into that. I'm only trading Bitcoin at the minute. I don't know. Anyway, back over to you, Bitlord. We've got Because Bitcoin up here actually. Definitely want to pull them up. I popped into their space the other day. We've got a good team over there.
Yeah, I mean,
BB, how you doing?
What's up, man? It's great to be on stage. What's up, Bitlord? I remember following you last cycle, your epic monologue. The promised land is here, long your longs. But unfortunately, the lack of breadth in crypto is really concerning. I think after Aster went up to almost $3 and then XPL came out, this market really just took a nosedive in plays to ride to the upside. On chain is just abysmal right now, and we did lose trend. We lost 100K. That was pretty massive.
Yeah,
And
100K was even support. People were saying it was support. All it was psychological support. Do you agree on that?
yeah, it reminds me of last cycle when we lost 50K for I think it was the third time after 69,021.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you remember, we had a crash in early December in 2021. It was basically 1-to-1 on what happened early last month, where altcoins basically went down like 80% in a single day. There was a complacency bounce, and then the market just died off if you weren't in NFTs, and then Luna happened, and the rest is history. But thankfully, we don't have a Luna or a 3AC or anything like that.
Hey,
I think
yeah,
the
yeah,
only
yeah, yeah,
risk.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not yet, brother.
Fucking hell, mate. Thankfully, we've
Bitler,
not had
do
that.
you think
You must be mad,
do you
BB. Like, are you telling me something's not going to go pop? I mean, I hope it. Well, I'm shorting, but I don't wish or hope on that on anyone's fucking funds or capital, whatever. Never. Even in the terms of it means if it meant me profiting, I don't wish it. But I wouldn't be surprised if something did go bang. I'm not naming any companies, but you know.
Brother, can I Can I just say right now? I tell you what the solution is for all of this, because if you look at it, right, like people just don't have money. Like people don't have money, and I was getting calls from guys that have known me for years, that have known I'm in crypto, around about the 120 mark, reaching out saying, "How do I get in?" and stuff like that. And I was thinking, "Fuck, this is not a good thing." I mean, I've never heard from these guys. They're reaching out to me now, but I tell you what I believe the solution is, and what it's going to be, for them to save this market, is you look at how a lot of the big exchanges are turning into kind of like banks in a way. What's going to happen eventually? You're going to be able to get loans to be able to buy a Bitcoin. You'll be able to get very cheap direct loans to buy spot and hold it on that exchange. You won't be able to leverage it. You won't be able to take it. You won't be able to do anything. You'll just be able to get access to very cheap loans to be able to buy spot. Eventually that's coming. Eventually, when that moment does come, and that's in the round, that's why I feel like we'll start to see some kind of bottom, some kind of stability. Because you need to understand, you can print as much dollars as you can possibly dream of, but you can't print Bitcoin. And you're seeing these big exchanges now move into that banking sector. Eventually, these guys are going to start providing loans.
They are turning into banks. I think Coinbase is basically, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Maybe BB would probably. I know they're extremely like tight government. I don't know the numbers, but I've read some papers. Those, you know, 7 owned by the government. So I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. We do look like we're seeing a bounce here. I did say it a few minutes ago. I think we will see a bit of a bounce. We're getting oversold on the 15-minute, oversold on the 30-minute, oversold on the hourly now for short-term traders. Quite oversold on the 2-hour, 4-hour, nearly into the fucking.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question. Bitlord, feel free to chime in as well. But you guys remember the price action that occurred after Luna topped in March of 2022, and the market just had this slow and controlled sell off, and the microsecond we broke through 40K, it was a shit fest. And I can't help but look at the price action we're experiencing right now as Bitcoin makes fresh lows, and kind of feel like they might have to just rip this band-aid off, bro. Just send it to like 85, 82K. Um, and that wouldn't even be a nasty correction.
No,
It would just
it
be
wouldn't be.
the same shit that we saw earlier
So
this year and the year before.
yeah, so BB. Okay, let's talk some like short-term, long-term. It's like realistic. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to agree. Like, we're definitely going to fucking, fill the CME futures 2K at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely,
I
man.
mean, by
The
the way,
weekly now
I was
looks
saying that
destroyed.
I was saying 20K, and everyone's laughing at me. But yeah,
Yeah, I remember you were on my spaces, I think on Monday or on Friday, one of those 2 days. I forgot. I forgot which one. I think we were trading at 107. Yeah, we were trading right around there at 107.
yeah, I do expect we'll probably see a pretty big bounce off around the 88 2K zone. Would you agree, BB?
Oh, easily, man. Easily. We'd probably have a gnarly bounce to like 100K if we were to touch 80.
Nah,
I just
I,
have no
I don't
shorts
think
on, man.
we won't.
I have no shorts on.
Yeah, I don't think we'll touch 80 without having a bounce from 88 to 92 first. You know, we won't just we won't. Well, I don't see us just going through 92 to 80. Because there is a futures gap there. I don't know. People say like I don't know. There could be a huge rally from the 92 CME future gap. Typically, when Bitcoin go on to make major new all-time highs to fill these gaps. So this is completely normal. I don't know why so many people are so butthurt about it. It's actually a pretty standard correction, like 30% drop. I mean, you referred back to 22, but I mean, do you remember like Elon Musk said he's pissed off with the Bitcoin community or whatever? Do you remember that? And Bitcoin went from 67 or whatever down to 40 odd or something. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that happened in like May of 2021 after I think it was like right after Barry Silbert put on that short on Doge and he tagged Elon Musk. He made some like weird statement
yeah,
and then Tesla sold and we hit like 30K like
that's right.
pretty much the
And
next day.
it spooks a lot of people. But at the same time, I can remember back then, including myself. I will be honest. Like I was like kind of pissed off at Elon, blamed Elon, for the dump. But like looking back now, um, there can be any if the market's ready for a pullback or a dump, it can be any reason. It just so happened to be one of Elon Musk's tweets or whatever. But it wasn't his fault. If the market was ready for a pullback, it wouldn't have pulled back. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have that much power over Bitcoin. It was just like it was what do you call it? It was just the excuse for justification for the dump kind of thing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these things are always followed up by some like weird news event, right? Even with FTX, BTC was trading at like 18,000 2 weeks before FTX, and BTC didn't even suffer much after FTX. It was mainly the altcoins. Even earlier this year, we saw examples where like most of the drawdown on Bitcoin already happened going into that first week of March, where we hit 77. And it didn't fully bottom out until early April at 74. But if you look at altcoins from like the March monthly open all the way until that bottom, they got destroyed. Pepe got like a minus 70% correction in those 4 weeks after Bitcoin had mostly almost bottomed out at that point. So, even if BTC is going to print that bottom at 92K, whether it happens next week or next month, altcoins are the things that people should be paying attention to if they want risk adverse stuff. You look at
I,
Sol, you look at
I
ETH.
disagree. I
Um,
agree. I, 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 I don't think altcoins are going to have any kind of um. Definitely no altcoins isn't, but really going to have much movement. Coin breaks new all-time highs.
oh, so you think altcoins are like mostly bottomed out here?
Say again. So you are breaking up. I don't know if it's my end or your end, but for a while. But go ahead. Say that again.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So what I was saying is, if we take recent examples, right, with BTC, where it had mostly bottomed out earlier in the year, in early March at 77K, right around there. Even though Bitcoin had mostly finished its correction, altcoins still bled out by quite a bit for a couple of more weeks. Stuff like Hyperliquid didn't bottom out until early April at $8. Pengu as well, Pepe. So even if Bitcoin could, right, theoretically could be bottomed out here and say finish out the bottoming process at 92K, um, altcoins can go a hell of a lot lower than where they're at right now. That's what I was saying.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what worries me is you probably know people and agree with this as well. There's a lot of OGs, um, who the old I'd say that slightly older generation to us who have basically gone pretty much all in on the altcoin season as Bitcoin was breaking new all-time highs, expecting to be a huge BTC drop and altcoins to go on there like they always have done and done. Some parabolic run, and naming no names, but Alex Becker, Elio Trades, have pushed these gaming and AI coins and continuously said buy the dip, I mean, they must be fucking wrecked. I mean, 99% of these AI and gaming coins, yeah, are just ICOs, VC, venture capitalists, pump and dumps. They lose funding, we go into a bear market, They're not Rockstar Gaming, they're not EA Sports. But I think a lot of OGs have been wrecked. A lot of OGs used to shit on meme coins, and even a lot of the OGs actually came over to meme coins because they started to give them respect and justify them, and they got wrecked. I mean, I think the only fucking meme coin winner here that I know about is fucking Elon, the man who created Pump Fun. I mean, I do think, now people think, this guy's crazy, but Bitlord will probably back me up on this because we come from this era of memes. But I do believe, I believe no matter what we're in for over Q4, Q1, because I don't think it's going to be over until end of Q1. We need to. You don't only need to see it bottom, but you need to see it sideline and then restore momentum, belief, etc. You don't just bottom and then wick back up and everything's Valhalla. I won't be surprised if meme coins come back, despite the fact we could be in for some major Bitcoin, ETH, and altcoin volatility. I mean, and I say that because I lived through Pepe, so I bought Pepe day one, and this was in the middle of the fucking biggest, longest, treacherous bear market anybody's ever seen. It was boring. I mean, most people won't even understand, but if you was in the meme, you're trying to make money on meme coins, there's no money to be made. I mean, people were scrapping over just $100 here, $100 there, just fighting, and but what Pepe did, it did something that nothing's ever done before. I mean, I know people have broke the time frame in which, but at the time it was a record-breaking 1 to 1.6 billion, 3 weeks, and that was in a bear market. Everybody hated, everybody coped, everybody called the top, and everybody, that fucking the Doge was calling the top at 10 mil, 20 mil, 50 mil, 100 mil, 200 mil, 300 mil, 400 mil. Literally just, the cope from everybody, because, there was there just, Pepe made hundreds of new millionaires, and not even, you don't have to, imagine like some fucking, third world country or whatever, you don't even have to make to be considered fucking rich. 100, make 50k, 100k. It made people fucking extremely wealthy in a short period of time, and that was in a bear market when there's no really liquidity around. That was complete and utter community. I won't be surprised if we see something kick off. I'm not saying it'll be with Pepe or something during these times. I think there's money to be made. Not right now. I don't see any opportunity. I don't see any opportunity on Solana. I don't think anyone has any money or even dares place a bet on Solana. I think it's a complete, everything's a fucking rug on Solana. But maybe some of these OG means a lot of people just like laugh at Murad for round tripping. I actually think SPX could potentially do all right. I mean, the S&P 500 collapses. You got SPX. I mean, coin based on it. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? As Elon says, the most entertaining outcomes are most likely. You never know.
Brother, you know what? The reason why altcoins are going to continue to do good, even if Bitcoin goes down to like 48K, is because when people lose the most money, they look for the riskiest kind of things. They get desperate and they're ready to do anything. So there's always money ready to be thrown at altcoins because people know, $100 in an altcoin can turn into millions. You've seen it on chain time and time again. So there's always that illusion that, you know what, if I just, one more bet or one more crack at this, I can make it. It's the same psychology in a casino, right? So when a lot of people are in a casino, I mean, they'll start playing things like poker and baccarat and blackjack. But what happens when they get down to their very last dollar? Where do they go? They go to
Roulette.
roulette. Roulette. Yep,
Yep.
because you can make it big time. And that's the same mentality with meme coins. It's like, all right, I've lost all my money on Bitcoin. Fuck it. Where am I going to park it now? I'm ready to lose it all, mate. I'm ready to throw it all into one
It's true.
small little meme.
I'm telling you what I've just said and what Bitlow's saying as well. It's fucking. I mean, I actually remember when. So okay, BB. So going back, you probably remember this, BB. But going back to when Bitcoin capitulated to like 40k from Elon's tweet or whatever, people blame him, but yeah. I
Yeah.
remember everybody, all of Twitter, because they wasn't into meme coins, all these OGs, all of Twitter thought was in, like going into like was scared, they was losing money. Meanwhile, during
They
this,
went to Axie Infinity and NFTs and shit. I
no,
remember
it went
that.
to fucking BNB, man. And during this fucking capitulation, there was memes, dog memes, ripping from 0 to 100 mil
Oh,
every
that's right, Floki. I remember that one.
Floki.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I was in Floki, got in there. I mean, I was just. I caught that fucking wave like no tomorrow, and fuck it was amazing times, wasn't it, Bitlord?
Man, you know what's crazy, man? This selling started going crazy when Don Alt put that one tweet. And I'm like, damn, bro, Unk has not put out a bear tweet like that since like I think it was 2021 in early May.
Who
And
did
then the
you
market went to
Capo?
Kingdom Come. That was funny.
Who did you Capo?
No, no, no. It's this Unk, like this dude who's been here for like over 10 years. His name's Don Alt. And he put out some tweet like last week, not last week, a little bit before that when BTC was at like 116 or something like that. And he's like, yeah, this market is cooked, especially Solana, it's cooked. And then that's when like everything started grinding down slowly. Then he put out another tweet, and that's when the selling really started going crazy in altcoins. Next thing you know, GCR is going to come out and be like, yeah, we're screwed. That would be like the nail in the coffin, but I think there's gonna be a bounce at like 92, 90K somewhere. But if that breaks, man, then I don't want to know what happens to some of these alts because usually what's happened over the last few years is that anytime Bitcoin corrects by like 35%, all coins that were trending before that correction usually don't come back. They typically don't come back. Um, and for on-chain alts, all it takes is like a 10% correction on Bitcoin and they're down 90%. They'll go from like 80 mil down to 4. It's insane in like 2, 3 days. It's kind of crazy to be honest. And if this really is like a full-on bear and like, we're all wrong and BTC just grinds down over the next year and the 4-year cycle bros are right and equities, which funny enough, they topped at 6,900, which is hilarious, by the way. 6969 is exactly where like the all-time high currently for the S&P is, and it just grinds down to like 5,500. Um, I'm just gonna buy Hyperliquid in the single digits again and Pump Fun. Um, at who God knows what prices, bro.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
know what's below the zero point zero 0.02 level, to be honest, for Pump.
I mean, I'd definitely be buying. Um, I'd definitely be hype over Asta. Um, yeah, Asta would probably do well, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much on that, but I won't be buying Pump. I mean, because there's still, there's not certainty Pump would make a comeback. Um,
You don't think Pump Fun would make a
whereas
comeback
Hype,
if we go like full bull next
Finished,
year?
brother. It's finished, brother. Look at it. Look what they just released. Mayhem mode, right? Mayhem mode was a last ditch attempt to be able to bring more trade volume and activity on it, and it's completely flopped. People fucking hate that product. It's a joke. So they're trying to do whatever they can to boost that ecosystem, but they're flogging a dead horse. It's kind of over for Solana, and You know, pump is, if you look at the pump trading and the pump revenue, it's continued to decline. There's nothing that's going to bring it back. Right now, they're trying to get the mainstream streamers on board to pump it. But look at Neon. He just put this token out. It took him like a week to be able to bond that thing. Mate, there's KOLs in the space that can, that if they put that out, crypto guys that would do it in a couple seconds. This guy's taken over a week to bond a $1.5 pissy million, and he's got $3,000 of trade volume in 6 hours. What the fuck is that? It's dead.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not BB, but I mean, you know, as regulation comes in, fund could potentially, be hit hard with some regulation because it is, the vast majority of people are losing money. It's heavily ran by the, fucking cabal we call them, but farmers, teams, creating coins, just fucking marketing it on Twitter, giving away supplies, selling into it. There's a lot of reason for it to not exist. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of shit scared of it. I mean, I think it's a great product. I'm not shitting on Pump Fun. I think it's a great product, and I think Elon got fair play to him. I mean, he built a great product, great time in the market was in demand for it. I actually had an idea for this product like 2 years prior, and I had it in my head to build it and build it and build it. But I don't feel to execute it the way I wouldn't have chose Solana, but I wouldn't have been able to execute it as Elon did. So I give all credit to Elon. Done extremely well. A lot of people made a lot of money as well. It's just ended up being. They need to change if they want to survive next cycle round. They have to change, or they at least have to have a switch where you can be on like free for all mode. Could be a farm, might not be, and then there could be a switch where you're creating a meme, but there's transparency where the dev gets unlocks 0.1% a week or whatever, and there needs to be a massive bonding curve which would help limit snipers, because you could be fucking anyone can snipe a coin on Pump Fund for a couple of dollars, $5-10, and fuck a project over. Everything gets sniped, so I don't know. I don't really know the way to fix it. Elon probably got some ideas if he's listening to, like, I don't know, feedback. But I think maybe the ICO era could come back. Me and Bitlord had a phone call 2 weeks ago. I definitely think that could come. Like that can you remember the Bitlord? The ICO era was like back in the day. It was like the meme coin era, wasn't it?
Bro,
That was
Ian
wicked.
Bellina, man. Ian Bellina. If you remember that. Ian Bellina, Supo Man. All those other dudes, man. And people forget about like the MLM Ponzi scheme BitConnect with fucking Craig and Trevon James. And those were some wicked times where Binance listing actually did something, bro. Now it's like there was really nothing exciting about this cycle that made people believe in the market. All we had was Hyperliquid and maybe Pump if it comes back, maybe Pump.
Do you know
But
where?
other than that, it's just
Right, okay, so
good.
I had a big space 10-12 days ago. About 10 days ago or something. Grant Cardone, Gary Cardone, that Joe Capone guy, various other big people. And I was telling, like, wasn't arguing, but was debating very strongly about my bear case. I can't remember the price of BTC. It must have been, I don't know. I can't remember, 107, 110, or whatever. I don't know, somewhere around there. And they was just adamant. There's no way, like, and Grant Cardone. I remember him saying, I said, look, I said the S&P's on a multi-year. Like, look at the candles, like on a yearly. It's blow off top. Like, AI's in a massive bubble, and there was like refusing to believe what I was saying. And Grant Cardone, one of his words was, oh, why can't the US government go into 130 trillion debt? I said, that's like just fucking ridiculous. Oh, like, he said, yeah, but why can't it? Well, obviously it could, but I mean, and then there was something Joe said. I don't know. He said, anyway, on that call, I had 30% of my crypto portfolio in stable coins, yeah. And I was waiting for the stable coins to buy the dip on spot. You know, I don't go all in on perps. I'm very risky with the plays I do, but on that call, I shit you not, mid call, I even said on mid call, like, do you know what? I am adding to my shorts here. Like, these guys are fucking. And I said that publicly on tape on one of my spaces. These guys are completely delusional. I think there was rich retail. They probably bought in with size at 40, 50k. Saw the ETFs, the BlackRocks, the Intuitions. Obviously, they're well known with Wall Street. And you know, the paradigm shift. You know, you've all seen the Wall Street cheat sheet, and that was the paradigm shift. Bitcoin is just it is the future. It is going to be a big part of the future. But it doesn't happen overnight. These things take years, and if you just look where the real money, the big money is going, it ain't really going into Bitcoin. Some of it is, but you've all been sold. Well, you've all not been sold, but you bought into this shift. 200k and 250k and all these numbers, and it happens every cycle, you know. And that was it. What Joe said on that call. So, in the moment of that call, the S&P was about 6,300, 6,500, and Joe said, I would rise to see the S&P at 75 next week. And it was that comment, that sense. I've told him this as well. Like in previous, he went, I didn't say that. I went, you did. I've even got it on, like, you know, record, fucking, you know. And he went, oh, well, yeah, he did. He did. And the next week it wasn't. It was not 65. It went down much lower. But that was like where I thought, no way, this is just fucking delusion. Yeah, delusion. So yeah, I added to my shorts, and I said it publicly, and I'm not bragging here. I'm just saying, you know. Maybe the point I'm trying to say is don't listen to fucking anybody. You should listen to a little bit of everybody, but mainly make your own judgment. Try and think outside the box. Don't blame.
James, where do you think Bitcoin goes if the S&P corrects to 5,500?
Sorry, say again. You do split up a little bit.
Where do you think Bitcoin goes if the S&P has a correction, a standard 20% correction to
What
5,500?
percentage correction? Bitlord is BB.
That's 20%. That's 20% from the top to the bottom.
Okay, Bitlord is BB breaking up, or can you hear him all right?
Yeah, he's all right. It's not too bad. I can hear him pretty
Well, what did he
clear, I
say? He
guess.
said what percentage from top to bottom?
Well, he said if
Uh,
if it corrects down to like 20% down, the S&P, where Bitcoin would be.
From its all-time high.
Yeah.
105. We're
Okay,
dancing in
let's
that
pull it up.
region. It's up to, you know, we were at, you know, well over 120. You know, so you had almost a 200% return in a
Yeah,
2-year
sorry, baby. I don't know if
period of
it's
time,
my
and then
internet
people
or
talk
yours,
about the
but
volatility
you know,
of Bitcoin. Hey, I'll
every
take
time
that
you speak, it
volatility. Give
seems
me
to be
more
lagging
volatility if I can get
a bit
more
more time.
return.
Can you, all right?
And I think
So
that's how
okay,
crypto people are
I'll pull it
wired.
up
And
on the
you know,
daily. Okay.
if you can't handle
So
volatility, stay out of
obviously S&P
cryptocurrency and don't
reached
bother.
all-time
But, you know,
high
go
of
into
what on the
treasuries where you're going to
daily?
have zero volatility and you're going to click away at, you know,
69,
3%
69,
returns. You know, go have a great
22.
time doing that, and I'll
Okay,
see you in
so
10
what's
years.
it down so far?
Embrace volatility, embrace
I'm not
the
looking at
future.
futures,
It's
by the way.
clearly happening. It's not just
What's
happening
going
in the
on?
United States. It's
We're
happening
down
globally,
2.8%.
everywhere. I mean, I just spoke at a conference.
What? Okay, so yeah, so if we went down to 20, let's say you said 20% correct, BB, from all-time high.
Yeah.
Okay, so look down to
Yeah, I did.
20%. That would bring us to 20%. Bang on 20 is 5,500. Well, I don't know. I think we go much lower than 20%. So, but one theory you could argue is, okay, let's say we're in just for a correction, not nothing major. You could say we go down 11% to 6180. That if you could look at the chart on the daily, that just that's definitely a bit of a support zone there. But again, what we'll probably see, if my theory is playing out, you'll just see a bounce there, go back down lower. But my theory is the stocks are in a monumental fucking bubble, and it's been fueled by AI. It's been fueled by AI. People find into the future, the next big thing. This is like, it's all overpriced, and the market. I mean, look at like DeFi. What set off right? Okay, BB. You was around 21, 22. What set off altcoin season in 21, 22? What was it? What was the catalyst?
I would say honestly, it was Joe Biden about to become a new
Yeah,
president. Usually,
it was DeFi.
historically,
It was DeFi. So like 2019.
oh, you're talking. Oh, you're talking about like the very beginning. Yeah, of course it was DeFi.
No,
It
the
was
catalyst.
Compound, all that
The next
stuff.
big thing. The next big thing was DeFi. Coming around. And that was like in DeFi summer 2019, 2020, if you remember that. That's when I started going into all in on like crypto. The idea of DeFi finance completely sold me. Like I was into crypto before, but when that come around, I was like, wow, Bitcoin's having a nice bounty
Yeah.
around.
It,
Nice.
you remember Kusama and Polkadot and all that stuff?
Yeah.
That was banger times, man. I remember trading Kusama after that video that Chico Crypto put out. I traded that from like $5 to 60 up until that Binance listing, which was those were great times, man. Those were great times.
Yeah, but
Bro,
great for
we've
easy money, right? Like, no.
yeah, man, with Kasama and Dot, I had a friend actually, and he saved up a decent amount of money. It was 20 or $40,000 at the time, which was a lot to like it was a lot of money, $40,000 at the time, and he was getting that money and he was putting it to a deposit towards going and making a crepe shop. He was he was into crepes. He's like, I want to make this crepe shop. I'm going to do it in this area. I want you to look over the business. I want you to check it out. Tell me what you think. I looked at the property and I said, mate, you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to lose everything and you're going to owe people money. And he said to me, why? I said, well, that particular corner, I've seen businesses come in that place. They last about a year or two, and then they pack up shop the whole entire time. I don't know what it is. That location is cursed. It doesn't matter what you do there. You're gonna fuck it. Your idea could be great. It doesn't matter. He said, "Well, what can I do? Like, I don't want to keep, working in hospitality. I mean, this guy worked in hospitality. He did side jobs as like waitressing and stuff like that to be able to save up that money." I looked at him. I said, brother, I said, take every fucking cent and put it all into Kasama. Like everything you've got. And this was not long after Kasama, or sorry, Kasama and Dot had just been born. So they were like absolute pennies, mate, absolute pennies. And he said, are you sure? I said, mate, fucking take it all and put it in there, 100%. I said, do it. I said, you got your credit cards, anything like that? Take out a loan and put it in Kasama. Mate, this guy nailed the absolute bottom of Kasama. He cancelled that business. He didn't do that business and he put every fucking cent into Kasama. And he ran that bag up to millions from the absolute bottom of Kasama. He got into leverage. He even longed some of those dips, made an absolute killing, man. Like the kind of like the huge life changing kind of money. And part of it was like he said at the end of it, he said, if I really make that kind of money, I'll buy you a jet ski. I said, all right, brother. And then one day we actually went to go get the jet ski, and they didn't have a towing. They didn't have my car. it didn't have a tow thing on it, and we didn't actually buy the jet ski. And then a week later, he lost like 60% of that money on perps, fucking around. And I told him to take what he had left, just cash it out, because trading is not you, and it's gonna hurt. And yeah, we kind of fell out. We fell out after that for like some other reasons. Always a good friend, but I don't know what he's doing now. I know he's traveling around and stuff like that. But man, the days of Kasama and that easy money, bro, it was like nothing else, man. I get like excited thinking about that shit again.
So
Yeah. And I think people forget that before all that happened, crypto did absolutely nothing from like June 2019 all the way up until the COVID bottom. Whereas equities, things like Amazon and a few other tech stocks went to Valhalla. And that's exactly what we've seen this year. Equities have destroyed crypto in upside year to date. Um, but I think that time period comes to an end, and wherever that next bottom is, man, um, it's gonna be insane. And truth be told, like I know hindsight is a bit of a meme, but like just looking back at what's been going on with Neon, literally he's the biggest streamer in history, and he has a shitcoin that is basically being traded by like two Indians in a dungeon, then what else is there to say about the state of the market, right? Because if that coin launched back when Iggy launched her coin, if you remember, it probably would have gone to like 80 mil, 90 mil easily. People forget that like even Andrew Tate had a coin that went to like 100 million or whatever it was. I think it was Daddy, and then he vamped his other token. Um, so it's all about the timing, dude. But I mean, if you take a look at stuff like Pepe, for example, that thing has been in a bear market for almost a year now, and usually like the altcoin market bleeds USD price for about a year collectively, which I mean it has, and all that we've experienced are lower highs since December. There's usually like a massive capitulation event towards that 12-month mark. So maybe the bottom time wise is closer and we don't have to drag out for a while, and we run it back in early February, late January, something like that. That's just being optimistic, man. But they need to save the weekly chart on Bitcoin like ASAP, man, because it is not looking good at all.
let's
Even
talk
monthly
about that.
structure is slowly breaking. Like monthly structure is breaking
Or
for the
monthly,
first
monthly. Look at
time.
the 3 month as well. When I look at the month and 3 month, I can see like, yeah, the case for 48K, 50K could be on. You could literally go down through that period for the next 6, 9 months, even 12 months, and then still base off that bottom and then rip for 270K. That's the kind of volatility you can experience with Bitcoin.
So BB and Bitlord, right? So you're obviously referring to the 50-day moving average on the week.
Yeah, the 52 week is officially broken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for it to reclaim that on the week, already obviously lost it on the daily. People are now clutching on it at the weekly. Yes, last week it just survived. Well, it survived. It dropped below it and then aimed it, but in a very way, in my opinion. Do you see it reclaiming it this week?
It's generally when it goes under these kind of things like that, it's generally it happens and it looks like it's breaking before the week or something closes, and then the kind of tricks that Bitcoin plays, it just bang, it just fully retraces back above that line into support. You can even get the nastiest kind of shit where you will close a weekly or a monthly under like major support lines and major moving averages, and the next month can open, it can start to look like it's about to drop off a cliff and then just ping, just go straight vertical. And that's the nastiest kind of shit that Bitcoin does to make you believe that it's over to about to sell, and then they just run it back turbo. So I mean it does look bad, but every time it looks the worst and it looks like okay it's over and you're about to give up, that's when they just run it back. So the kind of mental warfare these guys play on the charts with these indicators and things like that. It takes years and years and years and years of conditioning to know what kind of fuckery can exist. And I can tell you now, I mean, they can do it. They can run this straight back to 105 in a flash candle, and you don't see it coming. You just don't.
Completely agree. Yeah, completely. Yeah, often. I mean, BB. So go back to 21-22. If you look at it on the daily, we broke the 50-day average after the Elon tweet. We went below it, like kind of close below it, and then we did reclaim it and off to have a new, a very small, tiny new all-time of like 68.9, double top. So it's possible we break it, lose, come back. If anything, that's if Bitcoin market is going to continue, then they would like that to happen. A lot of people will think, I'm going to
Yeah.
the party.
Something else that's like pretty alarming is anytime Eric Trump has said that the quarter or month is going to be amazing, that ends up not being the case and the market gets extremely punished. And he keeps on saying that Q4 is going to be unbelievable. But just before we topped on the 6th, he said that buy the dips along the way, right? Which basically says that, I don't know, he's probably going to tweet out buy ETH if ETH gets to 2,400 and then just buy if it corrects by 25%. Because the fact of the matter is, right, like we can all say, all right, the bear market's going to be about 12 months long as it usually is, but you are going to have to fight against some key things playing out. One, the stimulus checks, which if they do go out, then all markets are going to pump and you just can't stop that. But that can easily be dragged out by a couple of months. And two, Jerome Powell leaves office in about 6 months. And I think the microsecond that a new Fed chair is appointed, they're going to print money and they're going to slash rates to 0%. Um, and that's the thing too. So you're kind of fighting against those two things. If anyone is of the belief that we're going to undergo another 12-month bear market, because the same thing applies for crypto to the upside. Everyone, including myself, bro, including myself, it was December of last year, man. People were printing on these AI slot bots on Cerebro, AI16Z, virtuals, all that crap. And we were all saying, yo, when Trump gets in office after Inauguration Day, the market's going to send. And look at the shitty sandwich that we got for 2025, bro. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Um, there was not a singular meme coin that went past half a bill. We had no new senders outside of useless, which topped at like 400 mil, and then it was a euthanasia roller coaster after that. So I I think I think whatever bear market we have, it's going to be a lot shorter if it happens, right? Because we could easily be in the bottoming formation process. Um, and the fact of the matter is, if we look at Trump's previous run, the longest time that equities corrected was about 6 to 7 weeks, right? From I think it was like mid-September of 2018 all the way to early December, and the market bottomed out, right? So a couple of weeks of drawdown. Um, so it's very volatile. Trump markets are very volatile in both directions. So it's really just a bunch of micro bulls and bear markets in a longer uptrend. But it just seems like the powers that be really want to take out all the people that use sniper bots on chain, all the people that live in the trenches. They really want to get those people out of the market, and they want to see a tech-based token, as cringe as it sounds, they want to see a tech-based token reach an evaluation that we saw Cardano hit or an AVAX hit. Um, if there was no pump fund, right, and we had different dynamics in the market as far as like flows with altcoins, you would have probably seen a new ticker go to like 100 bill, a fresh ticker hit 100 bill, but you didn't. We didn't see that, right? You can look at Pepe, for example. If you didn't have Pump Fun and everyone just like looked at Pepe and like, oh shit, this frog token, right? There were people at that time that used Pepe for memes. Let's pump the crap out of this thing. Probably would have gone to like 40 bill. But because of the dilution, because of the on-chain environment with Pump and all the other launch pads, the ceilings got smaller. And right now, it seems like there's just a regime to take those people out. They really want to wash these people out, man. A final cleansing of sorts. So wherever it is that we bottom, I think like we can actually start to believe.
Do you think this could be a little bit of a local bottom?
Probably, man. Probably like we've been nuking, we've been straight down in a straight line for like 4 days, man. Um,
I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a bounce here. There is some big buy pressure coming in. People know between 92, 94. You know. I
yeah.
mean,
But my only thing is this, right? Like this market, since it bottomed out in late 2022, has been so reliant on economic data like unemployment and CPI. And unfortunately, we don't have any data for guidance, right? And just for an example, right, we missed two CPI readings last year, back to back, in March and April. And look at what happened to the market after that. It went to Goblin Town for months. So
so
I'm not saying we're gonna go to Goblin Town, but like
yeah.
we just need to wait like at least a couple of weeks,
What happens
to
if?
be honest.
So how much of the Bitcoin price is correlated to the S&P in your opinion?
That well, it has its times where they correlate and they don't correlate. I would say like the price action right now, if you want to compare it to any other time in history, would be from about June of 2019 all the way to March of 2020, where you saw Bitcoin going through a distribution phase followed by a puke. And then, of course, the COVID crash happened after that, and then they synced up again. So they oftentimes do tend to correlate and decorrelate. Um, so I would say that they correlate like 75% of the time. And usually, when one asset class decouples, there's one that lies, right? And if we take a look at the
Gold.
the breakaway that we saw where crypto was in a mini bear market and equities were still ripping going into 2020, then we already saw what happened when equities caught up, right? We had the COVID crash. And you look at indices right now, they're kind of looking distributive. Hood is looking distributive. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a bit of a bounce today on the S&P, which would obviously drag up Bitcoin, potentially even giving it, reclaiming 100K. This is if you're trading really short term. Nothing.
I hope so, man, because it's
Not
been relentless, dude.
yeah,
It's like
nothing
it's
goes
like
down in a straight line. Nothing goes up. Even if we are like in a downward trend, you're gonna see little bounces. I won't be. I mean, given the S&P, how much Reddit was down yesterday, I won't be surprised to see it have a little bounce. I see it have a little bounce. I don't know how closely you follow it, but I follow it intently. because I do correlate it massively to Bitcoin.
Yeah, then we could honestly say that since July, crypto hasn't really done much as far as like following the S&P at
Correct.
all, if
Well,
that.
and the M2 money supply, it's completely
Yeah.
debanked. In fact, my whole thesis this cycle was following the M2 money supply, and it's just broke away. And I think it's because all of retail have just thrown the money at AI, stocks, gold, and at the same time, there's a lot of previous retail who come into crypto and lost money. And then I think the retail we did get, I think you touched upon this earlier, baby, but the retail we did have this cycle was pretty much all over on Pump Fund, losing fucking millions and millions. If Pump, I'm not shitting on Pump Fund, but if Pump Fund didn't exist, this cycle would have been radically different. Do you agree?